You wait and wait for change, and still life looks the same. I tell you, miracles are not delayed. They are here, and with one word you can open your hand and receive them in 24 hours. In this lesson, I will place in your hand the exact word that unlocks the subconscious and commands it to obey divine law. You will see why your mind often resists your good, how it tricks you into delay, and how this one word turns resistance into receptivity. You will learn how to use it with authority, how to avoid the traps of doubt, and how to set miracles in motion within a single day. This is not theory. It is law. And when you know the word, you will never again wait for miracles, for they will begin to wait for you. You may have prayed for years only to feel your words fall into silence. You may have struggled and strained only to see the door remain shut. You may have whispered affirmations and wondered, why do they not work for me? The reason is simple. The conscious mind stands as a guard, resisting, arguing, canceling the very decree you speak. But there is a higher law, and there is one word that bypasses the guard, slips past the arguments, and plants itself in the soil of your subconscious with irresistible power. Once planted, it bears fruit immediately. I have seen lives transformed overnight. I have seen debts dissolved, health restored, and supply appear in less than 24 hours when this word was spoken. Today, I will show you how to use it for yourself. I will take you step by step into the secret of this word. I will show you why the mind resists, why your past affirmations may have failed, and how this single word overcomes that resistance. I will give you stories of those who proved it, who spoke the word in faith, and saw the miracle appear the very next day. Stay with me, for the miracle you have been waiting for is nearer than you think, and one word will bring it into your hand. Here's something most people completely miss. The greatest obstacle to your miracle is not the lack of money in your purse, nor the sickness in your body, nor the mountain of debt that stares you down. It is your own conscious mind. The conscious mind sits at the gate like a suspicious guard, examining every word you speak, every prayer you utter, every affirmation you declare, and then questioning, resisting, and canceling it with doubt. You say, I am rich. And the guard mutters back, but the bills are unpaid. You declare, I am healed. And the guard sneers, but you still feel pain. You affirm, it is done, and the guard scoffs. I see no evidence. Day after day, the conscious mind stands watch, blocking the entrance to your subconscious, the fertile soil where miracles take root. Until you understand this guard, until you learn how to bypass him, your words fall like seeds upon stone. They never take hold, and you wonder why nothing grows. The stakes could not be higher because the subconscious never argues. It accepts whatever is impressed upon it. Whether true or false, whether spoken in faith or in fear. If you say, I am always unlucky, the subconscious writes it down and plays it back as your life. If you say, I always prosper, it records that too and sends abundance into your path. The conscious mind pretends to be your protector, but in truth, it often becomes your jailer, locking you into the visible and refusing to let the invisible through. That is why you may pray for years and still nothing seems to happen. It is not because heaven is deaf, but because the guard at the gate has stopped your words from reaching the soil of power. Let me tell you a story. A man once lived in dread of a disease he had only read about. His conscious mind rehearsed it day and night. He imagined the symptoms, spoke of it often, and feared it constantly. Though reason told him he was healthy, the subconscious heard only the record of his words and pictures. In time, the very disease he dreaded appeared in his body. The guard at the gate had not protected him. It had delivered him straight into the bondage he feared. Another woman laughed and joked for years. One day I'll end up in the poorhouse. She thought it harmless, even amusing. But the subconscious took it as law. And one day she found herself staring at the very condition she had mocked. The guard at the gate had faithfully ushered her words of fear and jest straight into manifestation. Do you see the danger? The conscious mind argues against faith, but it never argues against fear. It questions your affirmations, but it never questions your complaints. It doubts your prayer, but it never doubts your dread. That is why so many live bound to lack, to sickness, to delay. They have let the guard decide what enters, and the guard favors fear over faith. But here is the good news. There is a way to bypass the guard. There is a word, simple yet powerful, that slips past the arguments, quiets the doubts, and plants itself directly into the subconscious, where it begins to bear fruit at once. This word tricks the mind into silence. And in that silence, the seed takes root. When you know this word, you are no longer at the mercy of the guard. You are master of the gate. So I ask you, are you ready to stop wrestling with reason? Are you ready to bypass the endless arguments of doubt? Are you ready to plant a seed that will bear fruit within 24 hours? What I am about to tell you may seem simple, yet it is the very root of all demonstration. The explanation of why some people rise to riches, while others sink into lack. Why some are healed while others remain bound. Why some walk in freedom while others stumble in chains. It is this: the subconscious mind is the great bookkeeper of your life. It keeps an unerring ledger of every word you have spoken, every thought you have indulged, every image you have entertained, and it pays out into your experience the exact balance of that record. It does not question whether the words were spoken in jest or in earnest, whether the thought was a passing fancy or a deep conviction, whether the image was wanted or unwanted. It simply records and obeys. And what is recorded must one day be expressed, unless you erase it with a stronger decree. Think of the phonograph record, how faithfully it reproduces every sound, every cough, every laugh, every word. Set the needle upon it, and the record plays back exactly what was etched upon its surface. The subconscious is such a record, and your life is the music it plays. If you have impressed it with fear, it will play fear. If you have impressed it with failure, it will play failure. If you have impressed it with lack, it will play lack. And just as surely, if you impress it with health, it will play health. If you impress it with abundance, it will play abundance. If you impress it with joy, it will play joy. The subconscious is impartial, unemotional, without preference. It does not choose the song. It only plays back what you have cut into its grooves. I knew a woman once who came to me in despair. Why do I always meet disappointment? She cried. Why does everything turn against me? As she spoke, I heard the old record playing. She had told herself this story again and again, until it had carved a groove in her subconscious. The bookkeeper had written down disappointment, and so her life could only pay out in disappointment. I said to her, "You must break the record. You must erase the old entry and open a new account. Declare aloud, I now smash and demolish every untrue record in my subconscious mind." They return to the dust heap of their native nothingness, for they came from nothing and have no power. I now make new and perfect records through the Christ within. Records of health, wealth, love, and perfect self-expression. She obeyed, and soon her life turned like a wheel into new paths. The old music stopped, the new melody began, and she found herself walking in success and joy. Perhaps you too are living by an old record. Perhaps the voice of a parent who once said, "You will never succeed," still plays within you. Perhaps the memory of a failure still whispers, "It will happen again." Perhaps the story you tell yourself every time a bill arrives, every time a door shuts, every time a dream falters, is carving the same groove deeper and deeper. But hear me, those grooves are not eternal. They can be broken. They can be smashed. They can be replaced with new and perfect records. For the subconscious, though faithful, is also obedient, and it will always yield to the strongest impression. So begin today to speak only what you want recorded. Do not let your subconscious ledger be filled with debts of fear, resentments, complaints, and doubts. Fill it with credits of faith, blessings, thanksgiving, and praise. Say aloud, I am divinely supplied. I walk in abundance. My every need is met now under grace in perfect ways. Write that into the book of your subconscious, and soon the balance will tip in your favor. For the law of the ledger is certain. What you speak is written, and what is written must one day be lived. Here is something that most of the world has never learned. And because they have never learned it, they remain bound in cycles of struggle and delay. They imagine that their lives are directed by reason, by careful plans, by calculations and arguments. And yet they find that reason so often fails them. Why? Because the subconscious does not move by reason at all. It is not persuaded by debate. It is not swayed by logic. It does not respond to analysis. The subconscious is moved by impression. It is ruled by pictures, by feelings, by the images and emotions you allow to settle in your soul. And here lies the great secret. A single vivid impression charged with emotion will override 1,000 words of reasoning. The conscious mind may argue all day. I am safe. But if the subconscious has been impressed with a picture of danger, then the body will tremble. The heart will race and the experience of danger will appear. The conscious mind may repeat 100 times, I am prosperous. But if the subconscious is filled with images of lack, then doors will remain shut and supply will be delayed. The impression is stronger than the argument. The picture is mightier than the words spoken without feeling. This is why Jesus spoke so often in parables. He knew that a story paints a picture, and a picture impresses faster than any chain of reasoning. When he said, "The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field," he gave not an argument, but an image, and the subconscious of every listener received it. When he said, "The walls of Jericho fell with a shout," he painted a scene of triumph, and that image impressed upon the heart becomes a pattern for victory in life. We are moved not by logic but by vision. And once the subconscious has accepted the vision, it sets the whole machinery of life in motion to bring it into form. I recall a student who lived in constant fear of poverty. Though she affirmed daily, I am prosperous, she also pictured herself without money, imagined herself turned away, saw herself begging for help. The affirmations were words only, the images were vivid, and the subconscious always obeys the stronger impression. Her life remained bound in lack. I told her, do not only say the words. See yourself walking in abundance. Picture your purse filled, your home furnished, your body clothed in beauty. Feel the joy of it as though it were already so. She obeyed, and soon the tide turned, because the picture overpowered the argument, and the subconscious took its new command. This is the great power of impression. It does not wait. It does not delay. It begins at once to rearrange the outer world to match the inner image. That is why miracles can come within 24 hours. A word spoken with feeling charged with faith paints a vivid picture upon the subconscious, and the subconscious accepts it as fact. It does not say this cannot be done in so short a time. It does not argue about the odds. It simply acts, drawing to you people, circumstances, and opportunities that fulfill the image you have impressed. So I ask you, what pictures are you carrying in your soul? Are you still rehearsing images of defeat, of sickness, of empty purses, of closed doors? Or are you impressing images of victory, of health, of overflowing abundance, of doors flung wide? Remember this. The subconscious is always at work, and it is always bringing forth what has been most vividly impressed upon it. Fill it with the wrong image, and the wrong harvest will appear. Fill it with the right image, and miracles will manifest swiftly, sometimes in a single day. Therefore, learn to speak not only with your lips but with your imagination. When you say, I am supplied, see yourself supplied. When you declare, it is done, feel the thrill of it already accomplished. When you affirm, my miracle appears now, Picture it in your hand. Picture yourself rejoicing in it. Picture others marveling at it. That picture will pass the guard at the gate, slip straight into the subconscious, and set the law in motion. And when that happens, nothing in heaven or earth can prevent the miracle from appearing. Teach Trakeoff The more D. This next part changed everything for me. And if you take it into your spirit, it will change everything for you as well. We have seen the guard at the gate, always suspicious, always questioning, always arguing against faith. We have seen the ledger of the subconscious, faithfully recording whatever is impressed upon it. We have seen the law of impression, that the subconscious is not swayed by reasoning, but by pictures and feelings. And now I reveal to you the secret that ties it all together. There is one word, simple and short, that slips past the guard, impresses the subconscious with finality, and sets the law into motion at once. It tricks the conscious mind into silence, for it has no ground on which to argue. When you say, "It is done," you end the argument. You cut off the questions. You silence the guard. For what can reason say against a thing already completed? When you say, "I will be supplied," the guard argues, but when? But how? But from where? When you say, "I will be healed," the guard mutters, but the pain is still here. When you say, "One day my dream will come," the guard sneers. Yet when you declare with boldness, "It is done," the guard falls silent, for it has no ground on which to stand. The subconscious accepts the decree as fact, and the universe rushes to arrange the evidence. That is the trick of the word. It bypasses the arguments, plants the seed as finished, and compels the harvest to appear. I have used this word myself, and I have watched miracles unfold within 24 hours. A woman once came to me in anguish over a debt due the very next day. She had no means, no channel, no hope in sight. I said to her, "We will not plead, we will not beg, we will not hope, we will declare, it is done. The money comes now under grace in perfect ways." She repeated it with me, until her whole being felt the vibration of completion. That night she slept in peace for the first time in weeks. And in the morning, through channels she never could have imagined, the exact sum appeared. The guard at the gate had been silenced. The subconscious had been impressed. And the law had answered without delay. Another student longed for her right work, but every effort seemed blocked. She kept saying, "I hope something comes. I wish I knew what to do. Maybe one day I'll find my place." I told her, "You are postponing your good with every word. Tonight, instead of hoping, say, 'It is done. My perfect work is now manifest. I give perfect service for perfect pay.'" She obeyed, and within a week the position she had dreamed of opened for her. She had not forced it. She had sealed it. The trick of the word had carried her beyond hope into possession. Do you see the power of this? Hope places your good always in the future. Fear places your evil always in the future. But faith places your good in the present, and nothing declares faith so perfectly as, "It is done." That is why Jesus, when his work on the cross was complete, cried, "It is finished." Not, "I hope it will succeed." Not, "Perhaps it will come to pass." But, "It is finished." That word echoed through eternity and sealed the demonstration for all time. So I ask you, what is the thing you have been chasing, postponing, delaying, hoping for, worrying about? Tonight, instead of wishing, declare, "It is done." Speak it with authority. Speak it with joy. Speak it until you feel the vibration of completion. Say, "It is done. My debts are paid. It is done. My body is whole. It is done. My dream is manifest. It is done. My supply flows now." And then rest knowing that the seed has been planted. The word has been recorded. The law has been set into motion. The harvest must appear, and it can appear within 24 hours. Now that you know the trick of the word, and how it silences the guard to plant the seed of faith, you must prepare to receive. For to say, "It is done," without making room is like digging no ditch before the rain. The blessing will fall, but where shall it flow? Here's something most people completely miss. They think faith is only a matter of words, a whisper and prayer, a sentence repeated over and over, but true faith is always proven by action. Faith is not still, it moves. Faith is not silent, it prepares. Faith behaves as though the thing desired is already here. Even when every appearance declares the opposite, when you say, "It is done," you must then act as though it is done. Otherwise your words are hollow and the subconscious knows it. To speak completion, but live as though you are still waiting, is to divide your house against itself, and a house divided cannot stand. The law will not work for the double-minded, but it will hasten for the one whose word and deed are in harmony. I once counseled a woman facing what seemed an impossible lawsuit. She owed $3,000 due at once, and she had not a penny with which to pay. Her lips trembled as she said, "Florence, I believe spirit is my supply." Yet her whole manner was one of defeat. I said to her, "Then prove it. Show by your action that you believe." She gasped, for she had expected some hidden formula, not the simple demand of faith in motion. I told her, "Take me to lunch. Spend from the place of abundance, not from the place of lack." But she obeyed with fear and trembling, but she obeyed. And the very next day, a relative who had not thought of her in years provided the exact sum. Faith had spoken the word, but faith had also acted, and action opened the door for the miracle to arrive. This is the pattern you must follow. Do not only say, "It is done," demonstrate that it is done. Set the table before the meal appears. Lay out the garment before the wedding is announced. Write the thank you note before the gift arrives. When you take the step in faith, you create the channel for the unseen to flow into the seen. Spirit will never leave a prepared place empty. The universe abhors a vacuum, and when you act in expectancy, that vacuum must be filled. So I ask you, what is your action of faith? What simple deed can you take today that proves you believe the word you have spoken? Do not despise the small act, for it is the signal flare that calls down the miracle. By the token, prepare the space. Set your life in order, as though your prayer were already answered. For it is, and the law delights to prove it to the one bold enough to act first. Here's something that most people overlook. And because they overlook it, they struggle for years with empty purses and unanswered prayers. They imagine gratitude is only a polite response after the blessing has arrived. They think it belongs at the end of the meal, not before the table is set. But true gratitude is not a reaction. It is a creation. Gratitude is the voice of faith, the living proof that you believe your prayer is already answered, your harvest already ripe, your miracle already in hand. And the law cannot resist gratitude, for gratitude is joy made audible, and joy is the highest vibration of faith. The moment you give thanks in advance, you have declared to the universe, "I already see my good. I already feel my supply. I already possess my miracle." That declaration multiplies what you hold until it grows beyond measure. I once counseled a woman who had only $8 left to her name. Her face was clouded with fear as she asked, "What can I do with this?" I said to her, "Do not curse it. Do not despise it. Do not call it little. Bless it. Thank God for it as though it were thousands. See it drawing to itself riches from every side. Say aloud, 'I bless this money and it multiplies. It is divinely magnetized. It fills my purse to overflowing under grace in perfect ways.'" She obeyed, and within days unexpected channels opened, and she received thousands of dollars. The 8 had multiplied into abundance not because of arithmetic, but because of gratitude. Do you see the principle? What you bless increases. What you curse decreases. If you complain over your money, calling it never enough, it will shrink in your hands. If you bless it, thanking God for it as though it were already multiplied, it will expand until it astonishes you. The same is true for your work, your body, your relationships, your opportunities. Bless them and they will flourish. Curse them and they will wither. The law is exact. Gratitude is the magnet of increase. Complaint the poison of decrease. Think of the story of Jesus feeding the 5,000. He did not look at the loaves and fishes and say, "This is not enough." He lifted them to heaven and gave thanks. And the loaves multiplied, and the fishes increased until there was more than enough for all with baskets left over. The pattern is eternal. Give thanks for the little and the little becomes much. Refuse to give thanks and the much turns to little. So I ask you, what are you saying over what you hold today? Are you sighing over your bank balance saying this is nothing? Or are you blessing it, saying, I thank God for this money. It is crammed, jammed, and overflowing with supply. It is multiplying even now. Are you grumbling over your home, your work, your body? Or are you blessing them, saying, I rejoice in this home, in this work, in this body, and I give thanks for the greater good already on its way? Your gratitude or your complaint decides whether your supply multiplies or diminishes. Begin today to make gratitude your constant language. Speak it in the morning. Speak it in the night. Speak it whenever fear tries to whisper lack. Thank God before the blessing appears, and the blessing will come rushing to meet your thanksgiving. For gratitude multiplies quickly, and those who practice it live in continual increase. Sometimes people have spoken the right words, prepared in faith, blessed their small supply, even taken steps of expectancy, and still they find their miracle delayed. They dig the ditch, but the rain does not come. They buy the blankets, but the apartment remains out of reach. They set the trunk in the corner, but no ship appears on the horizon. And they cry, why, when I have done all I know, does nothing move? The answer is often this. Resentment has built a wall, and no good can flow through it. Resentment is a poison of the soul, a toxin that seeps into every channel, hardens the heart, clouds the vision, and blocks the law from doing its perfect work. You cannot bless while cursing in secret. You cannot receive while envying another's portion. You cannot walk in freedom while dragging chains of bitterness. I knew a woman who envied the gift her friend had received. Outwardly she smiled and said all the right words, but inwardly she cried. Why should she have it and not I? And so though she prayed and affirmed and waited, her own good was shut out by her own resentment. I gave her a simple affirmation to dissolve the poison. What God has done for others, He now does for me and more. There is no competition in divine mind. My blessing is secure. My supply is sure, and nothing can take it from me. She spoke it again and again until the bitterness melted, until she could bless her friend's prosperity, as though it were her own. And when the wall was gone, her own good rushed in, and she received not only what she had envied, but something greater. The law answered at once, for it had been waiting only for her forgiveness. Resentment takes many forms. It may appear as envy of a neighbor's wealth, or bitterness toward a family member, or a grievance held against an employer, or even a quiet resentment against life itself. You may say it is nothing. I hardly think of it. But the subconscious thinks of it constantly, and it builds the wall higher every day, until you forgive fully, until you can release the person, the memory, the hurt, and bless it into the hands of God. Your good remains outside the gate. So let me ask you, whom are you resenting? Who rises in your mind with a sting, with bitterness, with envy? Is there a face that darkens your thought, a memory that closes your heart? That is your Jericho wall, and until it falls you cannot pass into your promised land. But here is the remedy. Forgiveness is the dynamite that crumbles resentment. Blessing is the shout that topples the wall. Speak aloud. I fully and freely forgive everyone. I loose them and let them go. I bless them into their highest good. What God has done for others, He now does for me and more. Say it until your heart softens, until you can truly bless where once you envied. When that happens, the wall will crack, the stones will tumble, and the channel will flow again. Do not cling to resentment. It hurts no one so much as it hurts you. The one you envy may be sleeping peacefully, while you toss in bitterness. The one you resent may be prospering while you remain in lack. Release them. Forgive them, bless them. For the law of life is generous and your portion is secure. No one can rob you of what is yours by divine right, and nothing you envy can be withheld once you have cleared the wall of resentment. Even when resentment is dissolved, and fear is cast out, there may still remain another wall, an old song playing endlessly in the background, a record of failure, a groove cut so deep into the subconscious that it repeats itself, no matter what new words are spoken. Many wonder why even after they affirm new truths, they still seem to repeat the old experiences, new jobs that collapse like the old, new relationships that sour in the same way, new ventures that fail in the same pattern. It is because the subconscious still carries the old records etched so deeply that they drown out the new song. And until those records are smashed, the past will continue to replay itself as the present. The subconscious is faithful, but it is not creative on its own. It does not choose what to play. It only repeats what has been recorded. If in childhood you were told again and again, "You never succeed," that phrase may still spin within you today, replaying itself in your affairs. If you often said in jest, "I'll probably end up poor," that record may still be humming in the background, creating scenes of lack. If you once suffered defeat, and rehearsed it in thought and speech, the groove may still be cut, and the same defeat may rise again and again, until the record is shattered. The song cannot change until the record is broken, but here is the good news: no record is eternal. Every false impression can be broken. Every untrue groove can be smashed. The spoken word is the hammer and faith is the force that swings it. I give my students this decree. I now smash and demolish every untrue record in my subconscious mind. They return to the dust heap of their native nothingness, for they came from nothing and have no power. I now make new and perfect records through the Christ, within me records of health, wealth, love, and perfect self-expression. When this is spoken aloud, not once, but persistently with conviction and joy, the old grooves begin to crumble, the old records shatter, and the subconscious receives a new song. I recall a student who came to me weeping, saying, "Every time I try to prosper, I lose what I gain. Every new door that opens soon shuts." I said to her, "You are living by an old record of loss. Break it now with your word." She obeyed, speaking the decree daily, and within weeks her affairs turned. Opportunities stayed open, money remained, and her life began to sing a new melody of permanence and abundance. The old record had been smashed, and a new one written. So I ask you, what records are still spinning in your life? Do you hear the faint refrain of failure, the haunting melody of sickness, the recurring song of delay? Then speak the decree now. Smash the record. Do not let yesterday's grooves dictate tomorrow's song. Declare aloud that every untrue record is broken, erased, returned to the dust, and that new records of joy, health, and wealth are being written by your word. The subconscious will obey, for it always yields to the stronger impression. And the strongest impression is always the spoken word of faith. Now, we stand at the highest place in the whole lesson, the summit where every road has been leading, the crowning truth that holds the key to dominion. It is this: your word is your wand. With the tongue, you wave the invisible scepter of command. With the spoken decree, you shape the unseen substance into visible form. Every word you utter carries vibration. Every phrase you pronounce sends forth a creative force. Every declaration you make sets in motion unseen powers that hasten to obey. Many imagine their words to be idle, tossed into the air, and forgotten. But the truth is that no word is ever lost. Every syllable becomes seed. Every phrase becomes pattern. Every utterance returns to you with its harvest. The world you live in today is nothing more or less than the fruit of the words you spoke yesterday. I knew a woman who came to me trembling with only $2 in her purse. She said, "What can I do with this? It is not enough." I answered, It is never the amount that matters, but the words spoken over it. Do not call it little. Do not despise it, for what you bless will increase, and what you curse will decrease. Take these $2 and speak this decree. I bless this money and it multiplies. It is divinely magnetized and draws to me supply from every direction. My purse is crammed, jammed, and overflowing under grace in perfect ways. She obeyed. She spoke the word with joy and released wonder as a gift, proving her faith in the law. Soon after, an unexpected channel opened, and she received $6,000. The $2 had not changed themselves, but the words spoken over them had acted as a wand, drawing forth a demonstration beyond her asking. So I ask you, what wand are you wielding? Are you waving words of lack, saying, I never have enough. I always fail. I am unlucky. Then your wand is striking down your own harvest, and your life will reflect it. Or are you waving words of dominion, saying, I am divinely supplied, I am abundantly prosperous. My every need is met now under grace and in perfect ways. Then your wand is opening treasure houses, and your life will reflect that as well. You cannot speak without creating, and you cannot create without reaping. Therefore, watch your words as a king watches his decrees. Do not let one phrase escape your lips that you do not wish to see manifested. Guard your speech as you would guard your fortune, for indeed it is your fortune, and remember this above all, your word is your wand. And when you wave it with faith, miracles follow as surely as the dawn follows the night. Beloved, we have walked together step by step through the hidden law that brings miracles not in years, not in months, not even in weeks, but in 24 hours. You have seen that life is not governed by chance or luck, but by the words spoken in faith. You have seen how the conscious mind acts as a guard, questioning and resisting, and how the subconscious faithfully records every decree. You have learned that impressions paint stronger commands than logic, and that one word, Dion, tricks the guard to silence and plants the seed as finished. You have learned to act in expectancy, to bless your little and watch it multiply, to tear down the hidden walls of resentment, smash the grooves of old records, and then take up your wand, your tongue, to speak decrees that set miracles in motion. So now let us seal this lesson with a decree that cannot be broken. Say it with me. Not as a beggar, but as a ruler, not with strain, but with joy. Not as one pleading for a distant future, but as one declaring the present reality. It is done. The walls of lack and delay crumble away. My miracle appears swiftly. I walk in my promised land now under grace and in perfect ways. My word is law. My supply is sure. And miracles rush to meet me today. Say it until you feel it, until you see it, until you know it. For the knowing is the demonstration, and your miracle awaits your command.